Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to be talking about this man right here, Mr. Elon Musk, world's richest man. And what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about how he may not always be a shining example of skepticism or even being responsible with the platforms he engages in on social media. Let's take a look at this first story. All the links are in the description below. In the description, let's see, Elon Musk. This is from, of course, last month, a couple of days ago. Elon Musk slammed for saying the antidepressant Wellbutrin is way worse than Adderall and should be taken off the market. And you know, the thing is, that's a pretty bold assertion, right? And as we all know, the bold assertions need extraordinary evidence, right? What did Carl Sagan say? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Let's see what his evidence is for this. Elon Musk was hit with pushback after tweeting that the antidepressant Wellbutrin is way worse than Adderall and should be taken off the market. And here's his proof. Here's his evidence for that. Every time that drug comes up in conversation, someone at the table has a suicide or near suicide story, he added. I'm going to say that again so those of you who are aspiring skeptics, maybe your alarm bells didn't go off the first time, maybe the second time I read this, they'll ring. Every time that drug has come up in conversation, someone at the table has a suicide or near suicide story, he added. You know, friends, the plural of anecdotes isn't data. The plural of peer-reviewed, the plural of dinner conversation, cocktail party talk, it isn't peer-reviewed studies, right? In response, some users tweeted stories about how the antidepressant has saved lives, while others said it's irresponsible for the billionaire Tesla CEO to tweet comments that could be interpreted as medical advice by his massive following. Later, when a user asked Ritalin if Ritalin is a good replacement for Adderall and Wellbutrin, Musk wrote, "I have not heard bad things about Ritalin, which is not to say it's good, but I haven't heard bad things about it." Once again, if you're a skeptic, if you're aspiring to live a rational life, you're saying to yourself, so Elon Musk is trying to be skeptical about the anecdotal data he's hearing at cocktail parties. When he's hanging out with his buds, he's being skeptical about that's just, you know, if you're an engineer, if you're a scientist, you know, bad information, gunk in equals gunk out. So it doesn't matter how skeptical Elon Musk is about this anecdotal evidence. The thing is, it's gunk to begin with. Now, how do you respond to something like this? Here is someone here, and this gentleman responded to Elon Musk on Twitter, and he did the right thing. He identified himself as a professional. He has a blue check mark, so that doesn't mean, that doesn't mean for sure that he could be a bot. I don't know, but at least it's pointing towards the fact that this gentleman knows what he's talking about, Tyler Black. And what the most important thing is that he refers to a study, a meta-analysis, no less, about the topic that they're discussing on Twitter. And that's what you want to do. And that's why all the assertions, or at least many of the assertions I do here on this morning show, you can check out for yourself. I'm not one of those people who make an assertion and say you should do your own research. It's like, hey, if you want to check out the links, this is from good, reliable sources. Now then, why are we talking about Elon Musk? It's because of his most recent statement about sounding the alarm about Japan. The richest man in the world has become one of the most influential voices in the world. Yeah, that's kind of bad. So while Elon Musk might have been a bit off the mark about Wellbutrin, he did say a few interesting things about Japan. Some of them common sense, something that people in the know have known about for quite a while about the population of Japan, and for that matter, about industrialized societies in general, that they are losing population. As many of you know, this is one of the topics that we discuss on this channel quite a bit, is that if you want to have a stable population, every woman has to have 2.1 children. That's just an average, of course, right? So no woman's just going to have 2.1 children, right? And the thing is that and that isn't happening in places like Russia, in places like the UK, in places like Germany, and even in the United States of America. If it wasn't for immigration, the population would be decreasing. So Elon Musk seems to be like he's splitting the atom here when he's talking about the demographic issues that Japan is facing. I'm just going to jump down to, I'll just start off here. In 2021, the population declined in Japan by 644,000 to 125.5 million people year on year, according to the official figures. And 2021 marked the 11th consecutive year of decline. This is the largest annual fall. The Japanese decline is nothing new. For decades, Japan has been plagued by a serious problem of declining birth rates. Japan's birth breakdown is amply documented. The archipelago, I don't know if that should be capitalized. I don't think it should be. Experienced a fantastic demographic acceleration in the 20th century, rising between 1920 and 2008, the year of the population peak from 55 to 128 million inhabitants. It was on the back of this wave that the Japanese economic miracle took place, a creation of wealth unprecedented in human history. In 1946, the Japanese fertility rate reached 4.5 children per woman, and 3.6 million children were born that year. That's not happening, of course. And the thing is, Elon Musk said that, hey, if things aren't resolved in Japan, then guess what? Japan will cease to exist. That's being maybe a bit hyperbolic, because remember, everyone, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, longer than that, people were saying, oh, the world's going to be overpopulated. There's just going to, the population curve is just going to keep going higher and higher and higher until there's just too many people on the planet. And now there seems to be, from a similar crowd, that there's warning about, oh no, we're not going to have enough people. Now, the real danger to this, for my progressive friends, for my Democrat friends, for the people on the left, is that this can easily be part of a racist dog whistle. Because, if you're on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, you've probably heard about the replacement theory, this conspiracy theory that white people are dying out, right? And that there's some kind of conspiracy about this, either from soy, or if you ask Tucker Carlson, then it's low testosterone, and that's why people aren't having more white people aren't having babies. But it turns out, everyone, that having babies is really tough thing to do, right? But I also want to point out that a lot of people on the right, a lot of racists, are afraid that white populations are decreasing. And I hope this doesn't get me banned off of YouTube, because I'm arguing against that. But a lot of racists are concerned that white people aren't having children. But look, sub-Saharan Africa, they're having a lot of kids, right? So you look at sub-Saharan Africa, Western Asia, it seems like everyone but white people are having children. But if you look at those countries, historically speaking, like China, for an example, their growth curve in terms of population, it was going up really high. And then, of course, it leveled off because of the one-child policy, but also because it's becoming a more industrialized society. Industrialized societies that have a greater social safety net, societies where people are less miserable, just don't have as many children. And this is the scholarly consensus. The scholarly consensus shows that societies with a good social safety net, people don't have children. And the probable reason for that is that, well, they have Social Security. They have retirement plans. They don't have to rely on their children to support them. And so this is one of the talking points on the right that we have to be careful about. That, oh no, it's a population implosion and all the wrong people, quote unquote, the wrong people are having children. And this is just a canard. This is just something to scare people to get them to the polls and vote for their crappy candidates. Because let's remember, Republicans, fascists, they don't really have policy platforms. What they do is that they have fear and they have fear mongering. So why are people, what's the real reason why people aren't having more children? It isn't just the fact that, they have social safety nets and that there's some kind of instinctual response that they don't need to have children to support themselves in old age. It's the fact that having children, it's freaking hard. Look at these statistics. One of the dominant explanations for people not having children, you have all these stressors that parents are exposed to, and it shows that having children kind of suck. It's difficult. You get time demands, energy demands, sleep deprivation, work-life imbalances, and financial burden. The evidence also points to the fact that the happiest point in your adult life, if you're married, is between the time you get married and have your first child, and the next time that you're happy is going to be after your children leave the home. That's the happiest time. So it isn't because of low testosterone that white people are having less babies. It's just the fact that we're happier. And there is a solution, by the way. There is a solution to industrialized countries not having enough children, quote unquote, not having enough children. And that's by actually paying people universal basic income. It's just paying people to have children, right? Radical idea. But within the next 50 years, maybe the next 100 years, we will see that, right? I may not be alive to see it. You may not be alive to see it. But at some point, governments will realize that parenting is the toughest job you're probably ever going to do if you're doing it right. And the fact that people are not going to want to do it unless they get paid. Wow. This is the end of the show. Thank you for tuning in. I covered a lot of information. I hope you do take some time and look at the description. If you're on YouTube or if you're looking on Facebook, there's a bunch of articles down there that you can take a gander at. We're doing the after party after show at 9:15. If you want to be on the panel, there's a link in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to drop a cat video because that's what we do here, especially on a Monday morning. You want something to put a smile on your face, right? And then a thank you video for patrons and YouTube members. Have a good Monday, everyone, or try to have a good Monday if you're watching this on Monday. Take care.
You know how a cat likes its steak? Rare.